Aloha everybody, welcome back to another video. Everybody here, live on Twitch, go ahead and say hello to your future self. As always, we're going to be talking about Steel Fortress today. If you guys didn't know, there's been some big changes to Steel Fortress, and I kind of wanted to showcase and demonstrate the dungeon, talk about the dungeon, give you guys the strategies and kind of everything that you have to know about this new dungeon, as well as how to do it and clear it very effectively, and as well as, some teams and some units that you guys can use. So as you can see, this is the team I'm using here. I'm going to give you a lot of different options throughout this video, but I want to use a lot more free-to-play and easier accessible units. So this is the reason why I selected these units here. Out of all of these, one of these probably stands out to you, doesn't it? Ling Ling. Ling Ling recently just got a buff which makes her block beneficial effects on 2 of her skills. Yeah, let me go ahead and run one of the dungeons here to let you guys watch the dungeon flow as I talk a little bit more about Steel Fortress. So Steel Fortress was recently nerfed. Comtuos has really listened to the community and has really seen that the dungeon is been very difficult. So because it's been very difficult, they've kind of nerfed it. And the way they nerfed it is with the boss. The boss now, when he does his stunning hit, originally would stun your unit 2 turns. It only stuns for 1 turn now. As well as, I believe before he would hit you 4 times with those chances to stun. But now, if you have attack down on him, he actually has less chance to stun you. So depending on how much attack he has will dictate how many hits he does, up to 4 instead of just guaranteed 4. So the big factor is definitely the 2-turn stun going into a 1-turn stun. But also with the attack down, you would notice that the amount of hits coming out will be less. So with all these different changes, it's definitely reduced the amount of RNG that you will experience in this dungeon. So as you can see here, my team is literally smashing the boss. Right, the main strategy for this dungeon was always to land block beneficial effect, and if you land that, you're good to go. The boss will cycle out of its defense, out of its shield and its defense buff, and you're just gonna kill it because you're gonna land that block beneficial and you're just gonna kind of nuke it to death. And it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't hurt. It's not very tanky. So block beneficial is the name of the game here. So as you can see with the team that I'm currently using, I have 2 block beneficial debuffers. I was gonna say buffers, debuffers here. I have the Agar, which was known to be really bad, but with the recent changes, he's become really good. So let's go to talk about that here. Show you his stats as well as his skill here. So the big change here for Agar was that his AI used to be terrible, absolutely garbage. And the way they kind of changed that is by changing his skill. They actually buffed his 3rd skill, Blood Contract. It's the same, right? Still puts that Blood Contract up, gives attack buff to everybody, but now he gets a turn instantly. What does that mean? That basically means Agar's only got 2 skills, right? Because anytime he uses this skill, he's going to be using a secondary skill because he gets a turn right away. So because of that, he'll be using either his S1 to heal up if he's low, or his S2, which is a defense break and not a defense break, but the attack speed slow and the attack power down, as well as the block beneficial, right? Yeah, those 3 debuffs all in one, which is really nice. You want to get that block beneficial in. One key thing to note is that the AI of this unit has, really prioritized skill 1. And that was the main reason why I prioritized skill 1 was basically because he was missing health. So the AI was telling him, hey, you got to use skill 1 to heal up because you're out of health, right? But in this battle now, with the change to the 3rd skill, he's no longer going to go to the 3rd skill and then, end his turn and then the boss take a turn and maybe hit him and have some missing health. He's always going to skill 3 right off the start, and he's going to always be able to have a chance to do his S2 now, right at the start, because he's going to be at 100% health at the beginning of the battle. So I think that's a big change, and it's going to make him a lot more viable. His dungeon leader skill has always been great, so this change, really lets us utilize him more. People were taking him out of their team. They were starting to use Unawakened Gina. They were starting to use other block beneficial units. But with this change, I think Agar is going to be a really, really strong block beneficial unit for this dungeon. Now, the secondary unit, which is the hype unit, right? The unit that, I was very excited to kind of talk about here is Ling Ling. Yeah, she gained a very, very nice change. Very, very nice buff to her skill 2 and skill 3. She's able to block beneficial now. So skill 1, right, is the same, right? A chance to defense break and also a 30% chance to activate Shadowless Kick. Right? It's a kick with a kick, or it's a double kick. Yeah, so Shadowless Kick here, if she activates it or if she just decides to use the skill itself, attacks enemy 2 times to remove beneficial effects, which is great. If you land block beneficial, she hits it up, she can decrease or remove the defense buff as well as the shield all in one hit, which is great. And then last but not least, there's the change right there. Add as well as blocks beneficial effects for 1 turn. That's big, right? So now you're able to S1 into S2 or even just S2 to strip and put block beneficial. And on top of that, her S3 will also block beneficial. She's a great damage dealer with the 4 random hits here. The only downside is though, these random hits can go onto, side towers. But for the most part, it will be, you hopefully hit like at least a couple of them onto the boss. With this skill, you're going to be able to put block beneficial as well, which is really, really nice. Right here. Attacks randomly 4 times with the power of wind, blocking beneficial effects to be granted, and decreasing attack speed. Yeah, if this skill's on cooldown, you have a 25% chance of counterattack. So on top of that, this is adding in more RNG to your favor, that if this is on cooldown, which if you used it, right, hopefully you landed block beneficial, but if you missed it, this on cooldown gives you a chance to revenge every time the boss hits you, right? And when you revenge, you can defense break and also proc into S2 as well. So there's a lot of RNG factors in here with the Ling Ling, so I think she's quite fun, and she's going to be a great unit to use in this dungeon. On top of all that, she's also fusible, right? She's actually fusible through the fusion. Yeah, let me see where that is here. Right here. Yeah, which fusion is she in? Yeah, I mean, oh, you can see her. She's right here. But she was used to fuse the. She was used here to fuse the fire panda. So you can see her. If you collect these materials, you can fuse up a Ling Ling. Right. One last unit of interest that I think is free to play and also fusible that's really strong is the Argan. Right. I think Argan has always been okay for the dungeon, but now incorporating him into this dungeon as a damage dealer, because his skill 3 hurts a lot, as well as a pseudo block beneficial debuffer, is also a viable option. So my team, as you can see here, could be changed up. Right, I have a Crow in here as my, big nuker at the end, as well as maybe more defense break, team ups with the, any of the other units to reduce the cooldowns like Ling Ling or the Agar, or I can just swap it here and put in Argan. Right, he'll be my big nuker and my 3rd block beneficial. So I think with the changes to the dungeons and how it's become a lot easier to do now because of the mechanic of the boss getting weaker, and the addition of these buffs to Agar and buffs to Ling Ling. Now, there's also another unit, the Lizard Man and Faye, that also got a buff as well. But I think Ling Ling is more consistent because of the multi-skills having block beneficial instead of just one skill. So that addition to it makes this dungeon very, very easy. I think you're going to find that a lot of players are going to be devising some speed teams for this dungeon. Like, I can take out this Fran here, and I can just go full damage. I can go maybe another Ryok, right? I can go my normal Crow, right? I can go pure face. Some people are even considering maybe I can go Lucian, right? Have a Lucian go right after my Agar and kind of clear these trash waves a little bit quicker. Get to the boss, right? Have Argan and Ling Ling and whatnot, and Ryok kind of just deal with the boss. Yeah, and take care of it. So this team is going to be a lot easier. This dungeon will be a lot easier here. So big props to Comptuous to making this change. Hopefully this video here kind of helps you out a little bit. I'm going to show you the stats as well to finish off of all these units. The reason why I'm using Fran in here though is because it's a more free-to-play unit. It's a unit you probably already will have built up, and I think it's a unit that actually makes the team safer. Right, so if you're looking to build a safe team, I think adding in the Fran is nice. Some people will say it's a little bit too much, but giving that immunity prevents the attack speed slow, prevents any stun, and just a little bit more heals. So if there is a chance that, any of your block beneficial debuffers miss, you're gonna have a couple turns of rotations of leeway just in case, right? This will slow down your run, but it will make it a lot safer. But if you have good enough runes, you can probably go face, and it doesn't even matter. You can go face, and this dungeon's super, super easy nowadays. Super, super easy. Let me go ahead and show you all the stats here of these units. So first, I'll show it in the turn order that I have here. Keep in mind, I think I only have one artifact here on this unit, but I think all the other units have no artifacts. So any artifacts will definitely make your runs faster or more consistent as well. Now, one thing I will note is that the speeds of my units are fast. I use them in Guild Wars, and so I have them ruined a little bit faster. Now, that's a good thing for you, because if you're watching this video, whatever stats you're trying to hit, if you're trying to hit the right amount of HP or the right amount of defense, you need to know that you don't need to hit these speeds. I could take off this speed slot too, which I've done many times in previous, guide videos, and my dungeon will be the exact same, right? So you could go less speed, right? And you can go more stats, right? More tankiness would be really, really good. So this is how you can rune Fran up. I think first to move is really good. Keep your team safe. Second unit moving on the team is the Agar. I think he's moving next because you want him to put that attack buff for your team and that blood contract to keep him alive. In terms of his build, I have him on crit damage build. Yeah, speed, crit damage attack, standard crit damage build. Like I said, you can rune your units slower. You will notice my units are kind of faster because I'm kind of speed tuning them at the right turn order with my Ryok. My Ryok is currently used for speed Punisher's Crypt. If you want to check out that video, make sure you guys check out this video here, because that video actually will show you the Punisher's Crypt speed team that I use. And I need my Ryok at that speed. But you can lower these speeds and just have the same speed tuning and you'll be good to go. Right? You'll have an easier time getting the right amount of HP, and you might even get more attack, crit rate, and crit damage, which is nice. In terms of accuracy for these dungeons, it's been known that these dungeons you only need 24%. If you want to rune more, you can, but from what we have learned, 24% is all you'll need for Punisher's Crypt as well as Steel Fortress. So do keep that in mind. It's very, very easy to achieve. The next unit here to move on the team is the Ryoke to set up potential defense break. Right, team up. I believe the next unit is Ryoke. Let me check. Maybe Ling Ling's next. Let me see. Ling Ling. Ling Ling is next to move on the team. Right, again, this unit is kind of ruined kind of well because it's kind of fast. But obviously, you can reduce the speeds. I'm thinking you can probably ruin these units minimum like 150 speed. Yeah, with some speed towers. 150 speed is totally fine as long as you're moving before the boss, which the boss, it doesn't take that much speed to beat them. So, 40 speed less is a significant, amount. So getting these stats should be a lot easier for you if you don't try to hit these speeds. So these are the stats on my Ling Ling. Currently on Fatal, you can go Violent if you want for more chances to, use your skills and increase your success rate in the dungeon. But it's on Fatal Focus. It's on Speed, Crit Damage, Attack with HP subs. And here's the stats for her here. Next unit to move on the team is the Ryoke, right? So after you get that block beneficial, we want to get that defense buff up, right? Defense buff up as well as a chance to maybe team up, right? If he doesn't use S1, team up to pull in any of your other units, right? To potentially put to strip, right? Or actually the Wind Comfort Girl to potentially strip. It's a small chance, but she can S1 into S2, right? So we got Ryoke here. These are his stats, right? It's the same one that I use in Punisher Crypt. It's on his attack, crit damage, attack build. You have Violent Energy. If I wanted to improve this Ryoke, I would actually, you don't need this much HP. I would actually get a little bit more accuracy because, like I said, 24% is what you kind of want. Curl, attack, damage, attack on Rage. Yeah, attack, damage, attack. Yeah, the speed's a little bit more reasonable. Building him on high damage. This is a unit you have built for all your other dungeons, so you easily slap him in, right? Do the dungeon. Nothing better than being able to use a unit you're already using everywhere else, right? I'm sure you got your Fran runed up. I'm sure you got your Crow runed up. I'm sure you probably got your Ryoke runed up, so plugging these units in, getting the dungeon to work feels nice, right? You don't have to do a lot of rerouting. Maybe you have to make some small adjustments though, but maybe it'll be for the better for your other dungeons as well. And last but not least, I will show the Argan as well. The stats on my Argan currently, it's on Violent Focus, right? Attack, crit damage, attack. You can also go Fatal. You can also go Rage, right? Violent is definitely not going to be needed on these units, but getting Violent just increases your chance or success rate. One last thing I kind of wanted to note as well is the boss will take a turn every 5 moves you do. So that means with the addition to the change to the Agar's S3, that means you're already going to get 2 moves onto the boss, right? I guess Fran as well. And with that, that's actually going to help for the boss to take a turn. Once you land block beneficial, you actually want the boss to take a turn so that he can actually lose his defense buff and lose his shield instantly after he takes that turn. So here we go. I'll do one more last run of this dungeon here for you guys to see. I guess one other thing I can say too is a lot of times when you guys are looking at these guides, there's a lot of guides that you'll find on YouTube. The stats that players will put on their units are kind of high. I will say that my stats on my units are going to be high. You're probably not going to be able to achieve all those stats, but if you're running the slower and more consistent team with Fran and bringing a little bit more sustainability, I think that'll open it up. So even though you're not dishing out as much damage, having that sustainability on your team will allow your team to, fight out the battle and be able to stay alive through the boss and finish off the dungeon without any fails. So as you can see here, oh, we actually did the strip. Yeah, we actually stripped the buff and we put block beneficial on the S2. That was quite nice. Wait, that was actually quite nice. Wow. Strip into block beneficial, and then after that, the boss usually puts up his buffs after you hit him, but doesn't go up. Nice. Right? Ling Ling is so good here, man. Ling Ling is just so good. I like it. Right, and I think if you're planning to use any of your other block beneficial units, if you've already built on Awakened Gina, you've used Zinc, your dungeons that you're already running are just going to be easier as is, right? You don't necessarily have to build these other units, even though I think these other units are going to be better and could be a lot faster. You can still use your Zinc, you can still use your Gina, whatever it is that you're using. If you're lucky you have a Cadiz, use a Cadiz. And I think you'll find that the dungeons will just be easier itself because of the mechanic of the dungeon, getting nerfed. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, I've been rambling off a little bit, but hopefully you guys enjoy my insight. I always want to give you guys a little bit more of how my brain works and how my brain thinks about these dungeons and why I make certain decisions. Because I think teaching you guys to understand the dungeon more and understanding how to root up units and a cohesive team will actually help you in further dungeons in the future and any other, strategies and, walls that you guys get faced with in the game. But hopefully if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys subscribe. Okay, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment down below. Would love to hear what teams you guys are running. Hit that like, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream video. Peace out, YouTube.